It is 6:02. We'll call to order the October Taipei Economic Development Corporation Board meeting. We have a morning present. And then we have no one signed up to speak in our open forum. We'll move to item C, our regular agenda. Item 1, city secretary to administer oath of office to our newly appointed directors.
Okay, the new ones could please stand. Newly appointed.
Yep, all of you but me.
And if you raise your right hand and repeat after me, I state your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office, Type A Economic Development Corporation for the city of Joshua, state of Texas, and will do the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us. So item 2 is to discuss, consider possible action on appointment of our board position. So how do we want to do that? Since
If
we
you don't have a full board, you might ought to postpone that.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fine.
So we will table that. Do we have a motion?
It would be good to have it.
Yes.
I'll make the motion, we table the election of officers until your next stated meeting. Okay.
All right, have a motion and a second to table the election of officers until our next meeting. All those in favor, raise your hand.
I'm sorry, who seconded that? I heard it. I couldn't. Okay, thank you.
That's why I wanted to.
Does she know what happens when she's not here? She automatically gets signed up for something.
She was funny last time we kept volunteering people, and I think that's what you're on. Item number 3, discuss and consider possible action on the meeting minutes for September 11th. I think you were probably the only one that was here.
I'll move to approve, yeah.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes from September 11th. Raise your hand. Motion passes. Item 4, review and discuss questions related to the budget report and financial statement for September 2023.
So as you can see, Mike Peacock's not here this evening, but we did go over it briefly. He said nothing has changed because we haven't even gone over the end of the fiscal year financials to make any changes. So there has been no changes since last month.
I have a quick question on that. What is the fiscal year for the city?
September through or October through September.
October.
So the new fiscal year started October 1st.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is actually helpful to kind of go through and give this one because it gives you kind of a full year.
And I can send out the newly adopted budget for everyone, so you have it for your records.
Item number 5, discuss and receive update from Brittany Neal, Chair of Joshua Chamber of Commerce. Hi.
So we asked Brandy to come and do, she's the interim. She is the chair of the chamber, but she's kind of the interim president right now. She's just going to give us an update of everything that's going on. Chamber.
Yeah. So our president, Mary, left the last day of April this year. So I've been the interim president, just filling in, trying to make sure everything happens. And we've also been building up the board. We've lost a board member at that time. Ambassadors we've built up a new ambassador team. So we have, I think, a good 10 ambassadors now, and 6 board members at this time. There were 3 at the time that she left. We've added Kyle H Heimberger, I think is how you say it, Heimberg, it's not. Anyway, if I look at it, I can say, he's from the Josh ISD School District. And then, Amber Branson on the city, she's now on the chamber board as well, and then, we needed media help, so we have, Fatima Bassler, the assistant branch manager at Pinnacle Bank, is on the board as well. She's handling the social media part, the Facebook page, and working along with Amber on flyers and things like that. We have probably been, I don't know how many new members. I think we have about 15 new members since May that have signed up for having ribbon cuttings almost every week now. If not, we're putting them together at a networking event. The ones that don't have like brick and mortar, we'll just do it a networking event, and that gets more people out networking and at the ribbon cutting as well. The last luncheon was a success. So we had a total of, I believe, 71 tickets, seats sold at the luncheon that we just had September 13th. We did receive American Steel gave a $1,200 donation or sponsorship for the lunch. And then with ourselves of the tickets, we were positive 921 for the lunch. That's the first one since the chamber started back up that we haven't been in the red on. So I was very excited to have one that we didn't have to just pay out on. And it seemed to be, lots of people were super excited and, have been saying it's going really well. I think so. Our next event fall on Main with the city. And at this time we have 30 vendors have signed up to be on Main Street, and 20 have paid. We have 10 unpaid invoices, so we just sent out another email today to remind them that they need to get their invoices paid. We have a band that will be there, so if you haven't seen the flyer, we have a band that will play for 2 hours, the 80s gadgets, and I hope we can fill our president position by the end of the year. But other than that, we're keeping a steady flow, I guess, pretty much. Account wise, balance wise, but also a lot of the positive feedback. The negative feedback I haven't heard any more of in a few months now, so I know there was just a lot going on, so now all we're hearing is positive feedback and people wanting to join or do more. What can we do? Hey, we're busy, but we want to help out or something like that. And they like what they're seeing. I think after this event, hopefully more of everyone around the city will see that the chamber is back and wanting to do whatever we can to help all the businesses in this town come together. I don't know. Any questions to me before me?
Other than lacking a president, it's challenging.
That's a big role. So the challenge is being able to go talk to the businesses, which is what the president role will be able to feel more than I can since I'm in the bank.
And yeah, we're able to make that a paid position.
Yes, it'll be a part-time paid position, 30 hours is what was decided in our last meeting. And we have a meeting coming up Wednesday. kind of hard. We were waiting on our CPA to answer back on some help, just to make sure what we were posting and paying, and we won't have trouble with any HR stuff, like the hours, or, you know, there shouldn't be overtime. We're gonna make sure we document the times documented, since it is a part-time position. You know, you don't get paid benefits for that. I mean, hopefully in the future, that would be a full-time position with all that, but at this time, it'll be a part-time, 30 hours a week. That would include their event time or whatever, so. And we'll continue to help we're a working board. We decided it's gonna be a working board for however long it takes. Because one person can't just come in and do everything. There's a lot to be done behind the scenes. But I feel like we have books caught up, everything.
Fact that we're still getting membership in. For.
That's
That's Mary's left,
Mhm.
still.
And that's an kind of an issue too. We had. Once going through it, we figured out we only had 45 paid members, but we listed like over 150 members. So when COVID hit, Miranda left, Mary came in, they switched websites. And the old website was sending out membership renewals, but the new one wasn't set up to do that. You couldn't renew through the old one, so it's a work in progress. We have we're doing it. We have letters now. We've decided. I talked to, we go to the Chamber Summit, which is all the Johnson County chambers. Come to find out other chambers have that issues. Go back to stamp that envelope and mail that letter if you can't, So that's help. We're just calling and talking, just knowing the list and talking to people that are, you don't know how to renew it. So we've got it. It's getting there. There's still some, but we have definitely, I guess, I feel like we've turned a big corner or something. They're wanting to contact us now. We're not having to just go. Please believe in us. Please believe. Like
We've received a lot of positive, it's been all positive feedback.
right.
They've done a phenomenal job. Their ambassador program is pretty hefty.
Yes.
And they have some really good, younger, not just entrepreneurial, but younger, individuals that are working for these companies that are working their way up, that have been actually quite involved. I've been to several of the networkings. I've been to several of the ribbon cuttings, and everybody shows up and just happy to be there, and just really incredible. You guys have done a fantastic job. So thank you.
I went to a networking event right after I started, just to say that I didn't get the word out. I mean, it was out, it was on the list. I was the one and only person there. So I took the 2 hours to work on stuff, I had my computer and my laptop yet. After that, we did better with the advertising ahead of time and getting it out there, and slowly we've gone from like, the next one had probably 10, and then the last event had, I don't even over 20. We did 3 ribbon cuttings. We had a majority of the ambassadors were there, board members, at least half the board was there. Happened to be a bad day for the city. Merle ended up in the hospital the same evening that we were having this networking event. So, but it really was at Napoli's, and they were excited, to have the chamber there and have, you know, hold the event, so.
Great.
It's just kind of, I know, a year ago, he was like, I don't know, they're not doing anything for me. So, Billy's on board again, or his son, since he's really retired.
Great.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brandy.
I hope Friday we have that position posted so people can apply for it. So, but you're welcome. Thank
Take
you all
some
for having
relief off
me.
of you, won't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like helping, but running the show. If I didn't have a full-time job.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna
Okay.
head off.
Have a good evening.
Item number 6, discuss and receive an update on the retail project station 174. I mean, if you wanna. My concern is that we were wanting this information to move forward on financial decisions. And I'm concerned that if we do the presentation now and then we bring back our discussion on the financial aspect of it, we haven't answered their questions because they weren't here.
Sure. So let me expand on that. We are not going to have definitive financial information. Wait, I can give you information now, but you're talking as soon as we start doing the actual construction, all of that could change. Hopefully it lowers, but it's not looking that any of the construction costs are lowering. So I have been meeting with my project manager and my team, and we are constantly having discussions of how do we save more money. So we're changing design, we're keeping the same idea, but we are taking steps. Like we're not using shipping containers anymore because it was just too expensive. So, which is why we're not calling it that. If you know, we changed the name to Station 174 to bring in Joshua Station and then Highway 174. And it's actually 1-7-4. And everybody seemed to like it. The shipping containers have just proven to be too expensive because you can only haul so many at a time. And then trying to outfit them was costly and time consuming. So we have been looking at constructing the metal buildings to make it look like a shipping container. And we have reached out to a local steel company that has just been phenomenal, and they love this project so much. So I've already reduced the cost of the building by 30% by doing that. And they even took the time to build me a full-size mock-up. And so looking at it, we've made some changes because we decided we don't want to make it a little bit bigger and a little more convenient for the entities that are wanting to lease it out. So that being said, we're also, because concrete right now is just ridiculously expensive, because originally we were going to do all concrete slabs. Now I'm looking at pier and beam to save some money on the concrete costs. So a lot is going into it. So I appreciate all the patience you have given me, but I'm trying to get the cost down, because right now it came in way higher than we had planned on spending. So I love the team that I've created. They are 100% on board of trying to cut costs, but we don't want to lose the integrity of the project. We still want it to be amazing. We want the wow factor. So I think it's going to be more in the aesthetics, the lighting, the shade sails, things like that. I don't think they really care what the buildings are going to look like per se. It's going to look great, but they're really going to be focused on, the dog and pony show that you see when you walk through. So those are some of the things I'm working on. And I'm hoping to bring this in a lot cheaper than what we've been quoted. So I know one board member really wanted, a definitive plan and project costs, but as anybody that's in development, that's almost impossible to do right now, because we're still a little ways out. We're still on the civil engineering, where we finalized the civil engineering site plans, because I changed it 3 times because we're making all these adjustments, because now we're having a green space event venue. We did use hot tax to buy a really nice portable stage, but we won't have it for a year because everything's back ordered. So we decided we are going to keep it all green, lawn, concerts, things like that out there. And it's about 220 feet of event space. That's going to save us money. because now we're not extending the project out that far. We're still gonna have the food trucks. We're still gonna have the retail pods and all of that. So that has saved us quite a bit of money as well. So the only reason I just have not come up with the pricing is because it changes and we're still trying to reduce it. Again, the project manager, the construction company and the architect that I have, they understand that we've got to save more money, and we've got to find the products and do bidding and try to get more sustainable products in. That still looks great, but we're saving money at the same time. We're looking at some more landscaping type, gravel landscaping walkways instead of the concrete. Originally it was pavers. I don't know if you guys have priced pavers lately. So then we went to stamped concrete, and still with the price of concrete, we're like, oh, we still need to reduce. So then I think we could get away with our ordinances and things like that we could do some, maybe some more, some nice architecture, some nice landscaping to where the walkways, and we're saving money at the same time, but it still gives that nice aesthetics. So it's up to you whether you're wanting to see the video. We can show that just so some of the new board members can see what's going on, but I don't have anything else to share with you other than that.
I was just going to ask for that. Is there a project overview? Is there
Yes.
anything you can answer?
Yes, so I did hire an architect from the very beginning, because as you know, you need those renderings to really get your engineers involved, your pricing and all that. So we already did pay. They did some beautiful renderings, and he did an animated video, which
This is the one on your.
yes. And so we're trying to keep the integrity as best we can. We did talk to the steel company, and this happened on accident. We were having lunch and he's like, we could build those for you. And I was like, what? So, and I was like, exactly like this. He's like, we can make it look just like that. And then we're the ones that the architect and I kind of said, I don't know if you guys have been in a shipping container. It's very claustrophobic. It's very tiny. And I understand the concept that you see everywhere else, but the steel company had one as storage, and I walked in and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I was like, how you could barely move in there. You couldn't really, do anything. And so we started brainstorming. And so now, I mean, we were going to keep the 40 foot, put in a false wall if somebody wants to cut it in half and something smaller, but now it's going to be 12 feet wide, 10 feet tall, so they could hang things and they could make it more adjusted to what their retail business is, and then 40 foot long. And what they have done is beautiful. So if Alice gets this, yeah, it's right there. Silly girl. So the concept is really neat. The food truck aspect we're pretty excited about. We are assuming that it'll start off as maybe a weekend thing first, but it's going to bring tourism here. It's kind of, nobody has anything like this around, which is why we were kind of keeping it under lock and key. Because once it was announced, once we could go public, I had cities reaching out to me left and right, wanting to talk to me, and I was dodging them left and right because I'm like, let us get this off the ground before I talk to you, because I don't want them to be able to, get it moving. Yeah.
Is there sound to it or no?
There is not.
Okay.
Where's this movie?
This is on the property that the city owns right next to Panda Express. It's a narrow lot, and it's about 4.5, it's about almost 5 acres. The original plan for this was to be completely phased out all the way to the end. That top is a bar, which overlooks the entire venue. So what we did is we stopped this project to save more money at that bar, because we were doing phase 1 and phase 2, and all it was phase 2 was just a mirror of phase 1.
Have you had any tenant interest to it?
We have, and the plan for this was almost like an incubator. So the intent, because it's a city project, was not for us to make a huge profit off of it. It was for us to help these small businesses that can't afford a brick and mortar to get started, or, maybe, Betty Joe always wanted to try her hand at making candles or something. And then this is their opportunity to see if it's something that could.
City's not gonna manage it either.
No. So once this is built, I'm already working on some other entities because we don't have the time. I don't have the time, honestly. We don't, and the city's never been in the leasing business anyway. We will probably hand it over to an entity and let them fill it, lease it out. As long as the city makes money back for like the electric, because the city will carry the electricity, the city will take care of the water. But it's really just to promote businesses, and that's what economic development does, to bring in, promote jobs, promote businesses and entrepreneurism.
So things like CO fees and other city fees, will they be reduced to make it more attractive, anything like that?
So we will be absorbing all of that because it's a city project. And in city form, we won't cut any corners because we are expected to, oh, are you here for the other one? The animal? It's at the fire department.
No, police department,
Oh, I'm sorry, police department.
right across the street.
You're good, thank you. Oh, good. So that was the premise of this project all along. But it was also, the event, the tourism, almost to bring people here to have something that's different. No other city has it. We will be kind of like the incubator, the prototype, if you will, of this project. And we're pretty excited, but from the very beginning, I think the board was aware, except for the new board members, that this was not like a typical retail hub where it's a big profit making. It was solely to promote entrepreneurism, get small businesses to get started and give them a chance to have a leg up. Yes, exactly. So that's what we're excited. But again, we've had some little disappointments because everything is expensive. And, I am very cognizant of our money. I'm very careful of what we spend. And so we're really doing our due diligence to try to keep the costs low.
Check the cost with, co-op and Jason.
I have already reached out to JSUD, has been phenomenal to work with. They really, really have. And I cannot say enough, honestly. Nan, and Dana's been, I even told Dana this. Nan has been phenomenal. And we met with them last week with the engineer that I hired for this project. And they were fantastic. They came up with ideas to help save us money. Water lines and sewer lines to tap in, fire lines. It's really been a pleasure. And I mean that sincerely. It's been great. And I reached out to United Co-op the very beginning. They immediately came out. They're going to have to drop some electric lines to make this happen. The only thing they asked, because originally we had our fire lane on the south side, and he asked if we could move the fire lane to the north side along the apartments, because he said it's easier. We have that 24-foot fire lane to coincide with the easement. It's easier for everybody to access if something happens. And then they said it'll be no problem to drop those electric lines for us. So everyone has been really fantastic and excited about this project. So
Cameron Smallwood or just one of his representatives?
Jeff Panel is what I've been working with. Yes. I have a relationship with him. I've known him for years. And so he's my go-to guy. Even if I'm not supposed to, he works with
I
me.
go straight to Cameron.
Do you? I don't know who that is.
He's the president.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I
He was
just,
on the board with us.
oh, good. Yeah. So everyone has been fantastic. So we are still in the civil engineering. We do have the preliminary civil engineering completed. They're going to start working on the preliminary grading plan. And the grading plan is once the grading plan gets done or is kind of there, that's when they can really start doing the pricing, because we don't know how thick the concrete needs to be. I already had the geotech and the soil testing done, but once the grading plan is done, I don't know if it needs to be 4 inches thick, 5 inches thick. So right now we only have a bid on 4 inch, just average 4 inch thick concrete. Who knows, it might come back because it is sandy soil. Well, not that out there is really clay. So we might do okay. If it was sandy soil, we might have to do, 6. And now we're looking into piers. Anyway, I'm getting way into the weeds here,
They are.
but sorry. So that's that. So when I have more information, I will always update you. I think we're going to start doing these updates every month, just so you know where we're at. But the civil engineering, the beginning is always the longest. It takes the longest to get all this stuff done. So
Quick question,
Yes.
tenant selection, is there a criteria for that? Who's going to be able to come in?
I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna be super picky about it. Again, even though I won't have the time to head it up, I will still be involved. But again, it's designed for the small guy,
Which is vape shops and tattoos and things like that.
So that I don't think they'll have the ability to do that. We're thinking more boutique. This is more of a boutique retail.
At least some book forbidden tattoo shops, they have to be out in the far end of the industrial areas.
It's a zoning.
Yes, sir, it's a zoning problem.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, because tattoos and all those,
There's not gonna be water.
not to those, no. So not to the retail. We are only gonna run water to the food truck area.
So it'd be all food trucks, no food and drink. Tenants, right?
Correct.
Okay, good.
And it's all gonna be boutique retail. Again, maybe the little clothing shops, or somebody likes crochets, or somebody that's selling, candles. And there's so many creative people out there. So that's what we're looking at to fill those spaces. And we will still be getting sales tax off of that. That's one of the things that we will need to require, is they have to have their sales tax number registered with the state for them to come in. So we're hoping they would do it monthly. I mean, we really don't want it to be, a weekend, like a swap meet kind of thing. That's the plan, is for them to rent it monthly. Now, if they choose to just come out on the weekends, I would assume this is probably going to start out kind of slow as maybe a 3-day weekend thing. We might have the grand opening on a 3-day weekend or something like that. And then to push it off. And, we plan on marketing it to let people know this is a 7-day-a-week thing, but we're just going to really have to play it by ear to see how it works. Anybody else have any questions?
Sounds like you had it pretty well painted.
I do. And I
Start.
apologize for going off on like an engineering tangent. That's kind of I love civil engineering and I nerd out on it. So I apologize for that. I could talk your ear off all day about that.
Can you send us something like in an email form that tells us what you have already, or?
As far as what I have already for what?
I mean, I've got a bunch of questions.
Okay, we'll hit you with it. Yeah,
I don't really want to take a bunch of time down here.
That's
so I
okay.
don't really know how this all works yet.
Okay.
We are super excited about this project, so if you have questions, I'd really like for you to ask them.
yes.
When you're talking about a stage, and what if that was just built? I mean, does it have to be wood? Does it have to be concrete? What stage?
This one-
You're talking the event
Go ahead.
the event stage. So the benefit of having a portable stage is because we have a lot of events in the park. We want it to be movable. It's high. It is. And it's, I don't think we have a picture of that, but it's really great. Have you ever been to Burleson to their event? It's the same concept. Really nice. It's hydraulic. It closes into a rectangle box and you can pull it with a truck, but when it opens, it's very dynamic. It's really cool. It's got, and this one we did opt for the bigger one. No,
They came out.
we have tried, but they're busy all the time too. And you don't borrow it. We would have to rent it. And we struggled trying to figure out how to spend the hot funds that come in from the hotel tax. I don't know if you guys are aware of the hotel tax. But we have to spend it on things that puts heads in beds. That's the thing. And this would be anytime having these events and things like that. And then we check with the attorney, you want to make sure you're spending your money correctly. But we were super excited. We've been wanting a stage for a long time. We have events out at the park, but we didn't want to build a permanent structure out there at this facility, that station 174. We want to be able to move it. We want to be able to have it anywhere. We want to be able to plop it up in downtown right here when we have events, the park. And it's easily, and that's easy to do with the portable.
As the painters. So in that little video, it showed a bunch of storefronts and you're walking down, you got storefronts on the side.
Mhm.
That's what was under that containers shop, shipping containers, that's what that was gonna be.
Yes, and then we're still keeping the same plan with that.
Same
The,
concept, only the big metal buildings.
No buildings instead.
which is all a shipping container is, and the shipping containers aren't insulated. And so you're talking upfitting these shipping containers that you're not guaranteed what condition they're coming in. Or, and I've heard some horrible stories. The guy was honest with me. He's like, look, most of these are one use only. He goes, but sometimes meat and fur and stuff come over in them and it smells, you won't ever get rid of that smell. And I'm like, well, how do I make sure? He goes, I can't control that. You're going to get what you get. And I was like, okay. So we've had a lot of thinking. We've, done a lot of strategizing, and even if it's a nice container, I don't want it to smell like death when people walk in. So that was something that we had to redo. And, but the concept is the same. We are going to reduce the amount. If you notice that it's all glass on the front, glass is extremely expensive. That was a huge part of the budget. And so we decided to not have all that glass, but we still wanted a glass front door. So people will walk by, they can still see, and to still make it nice and pretty. But there's some things that we're going to be changing, but we're still keeping the aesthetics of the original plan.
And the containers used to be really cheap, but I don't think they are.
Because they're not. And even the ones that are semi-reasonable, you're talking, there was an extra cost because we were gonna have to paint them all. We didn't want that look of the original container, that roughed out, grunge. Yeah, we didn't want that. And having these metal buildings, the metal already comes like that. It's already pre-painted, it's powder coated, and it's nice and it's already done. And we've picked our colors. The colors will match exactly what you saw in the rendering. They have this great copper trim that looks just like the wood that was proposed in the architectural rendering. And yeah. Is that it?
There is a winery down in Stephenville that you ship them containers to. Yeah, very similar
Yeah.
and look awesome. So we're down there, down there. You have to look it up because I don't remember.
I'll have to check that out.
They've got.
It is a neat concept, and it's starting to kick off a bit, which is why the price of containers are starting to go up, because you used to be able to pick those up for what, 2,000, between 2,000 and 5,000, and the price is steadily increasing. But again, we wanted this project to be a little more elegant. We didn't want the traditional. Thank you.
That looks really cool.
Thank
It
you.
almost reminds me of Clearfork, like we.
Love Clearfork. Yes. So we are super excited. Again, we've hit some, rough patches again, and it's all been just the pricing. Everything has just gone up and it's expensive. So.
And it hasn't been a quick thing. Like, we've put a lot of, we've been talking about this for a while. And Molly has put a lot of time and effort into researching and sending it back and trying to get the right people. So like, we are super, super fortunate.
Yes.
Our vision and that our budget has allowed us to come through this thing. So
It is exciting. And we just, this morning, today's Monday, right? This morning, I did officially send an email out to the project manager. We did hire a design build team, to just kind of go ahead and take the helm. So they're going to really start doing the pricing and all of that. The architect is going to finalize the plans because we've changed the buildings a little bit. The civil engineer said, "Are you done making changes now?" And I was like, yes. And now he's going to start working on the grading plan, because without the grading plan, we can't get you know, the official, and he'll start doing the drainage and plan and all that kind of stuff now. So we're still in the dirt. We're not even in the dirt work part yet.
So is it still at the point where not to leave this room, or is it?
No, this is a public meeting. Yeah. So at times I will take you guys in the back room when we really need to talk about things that we can't, that I will need like agreements and stuff with you, but we can go over that. Sure.
I can email it
It's
out
public.
tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if you can, it might be too big to email.
I can do it through
Perfect.
Dropbox.
Perfect. Okay.
If not, then you got Molly Martin.
You'll have to dig back a little bit. Yes.
Any other questions on the station report?
Thank you very much. And good luck.
Thank you.
Item D, monthly report. Molly?
So the first thing was that I've already went over with you is Station 174 is changing the name, letting you all know about that. And, so I'm going to move to the second thing that's coming in. A lot of you have known we are starting to become quite attractive to a lot of franchises, a lot of retail. There's some exciting things that are happening. Some things I can't talk about yet because I hate to jinx them because we're just really in the infancy of these projects. And I hate to say things and then they not come to fruition and then everybody gets upset. So those of you that are new, be patient. There are things happening. There's just things I can't talk about. And because the entity and the developers asked me to not say anything. And then for the reason I just mentioned, I hate to get you all excited about something and go, wah, 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 it didn't work, right? So we do have Taco Bell coming in. We've been working with Taco Bell for a year now. They love Joshua. They have been wanting to come here for a long time. The problem was we just couldn't find land. And when I say we couldn't find land, that was appropriate for their building. And then we just couldn't find any landowners that were willing to give it up at a certain price or just weren't willing to give up any land. We did find a piece of property for them finally. It is smaller than their normal footprint. It'll be next to 7-Eleven. It's that old yellow house. They will be tearing it down. The homeowner, they're equally excited to get rid of it. Great couple that owns it. So Taco Bell has just been amazing to work with. They have reduced their footprint to fit their building into this piece of property. The city has allowed some variances, just simple ones to accommodate them. It hasn't been anything. They haven't asked for anything. They haven't asked for incentive. They haven't asked for anything. They're just happy that we're so easy to work with. And they have made that comment several times that the city of Joshua has been just so easy to work with. So they are, they finally have submitted a preliminary site plan because they wanted to make sure our city engineer and the city was fine with what they were requesting and what they needed. We approved it. So now they've actually got their engineer on it and they are working on the specifics, the draining plan, the drainage, all of that. And so we should be hearing from them soon. We'll be setting up a DRC meeting with them just to go over the final, being the fact that our city engineer has already preliminary signed off on the one site plan that should run pretty quickly. The good thing about that is they are movers and shakers. And so once this plan gets approved, Taco Bell will be up. You'll see it go vertical and pretty darn quick. So we're pretty excited about that. So that brings me to Whataburger. We've been waiting on Whataburger for a long time. God love them. And the reason why they've been taking a while is because they were going back and forth. They were originally going to build a tiny strip mall and have 2 end caps of franchise, QSRs, quick sale retail, which is fast food. And then they changed their mind and wanted to have standalone. Then they went back to the strip mall. And so now they've finally said, we've made a final decision. We are going to do a standalone because we really didn't want them to have an end cap Whataburger You know, Whataburger has always deserved its own standalone. I think it's gonna do phenomenal here. So now they have to replat it. So that's what's taking a long time. And they will be doing a standalone. And last I heard from them, they are working with another fast food entity. They're working on a lease agreement. Now, whether that has panned out, because it's been about a month since I've talked to them. That's what they were waiting on, but they are working on a new plat.
It'll be next door to.
It will,
McDonald's.
yes. Well, not McDonald's. Well, there's Burger King. It's on the other, it's between Starbucks and Panda. It's that whole empty space you see right there in Joshua Station. That will be filled. So we're just kind of waiting on them. We kind of feel like we're a pain in their butt sometimes because we're like, update. And they're like, I know. So I don't know if, as some of you may know, Panda had a fire probably about 2 months ago. They are currently working on their the construction on that. Our city inspector has done some inspections and approved some of them. Last I heard, they were waiting on the final roof and ceiling inspection, but they weren't quite there yet. So they should be opening here pretty soon. The next thing is, many of you know, I was going to update you on the Dinosaur Museum, and I'm happy to report that we're finally moving forward. This has also been a labor of love. For those of you that are not aware, from the other city I came from, I brought this huge dinosaur museum with me, and the university is involved, but it's going to be, we're looking like a 30,000 square foot, hands-on, super fun. It's going to be a museum that is really like no other. And the A board went ahead and we purchased property right next to the YMCA for this project. The board will grant this property to the museum once it's completely built and opened and ready to go. So we will remain ownership of that until all of this moves forward. Now, this is a very long process because it's going to be built solely on grants and donations only. So you're talking 3 to 4 years out. But the good news is we finally, the university has decided to put up the money for the architectural designs, which is what we need for all of the party planning, the events, the fundraisers, the galas, all that kind of stuff. So that was good news. And that just happened last week. So we did create a board of directors. They did ask me to sit on that board of directors as well. So I could be a part of it and I could keep my board updated. I'm also on the subcommittee that does all the interviews for the architecture. We just interviewed 2 architects. The second one was this morning, and we will meet later this week at some time and choose the architect, award that to them. They will hit the ground running. They're going to do some basic renderings so we can start the fundraising. We actually have a fundraiser, a woman that this is what she does. And she has connections all the way up to the Senate and Congress and all of that to help us collect money, get the word out, get those influential people involved to, kindly donate their money to this. Yes. So SWAU, the Southwestern Adventist University, that's where all the bones came from. They have exclusive rights to, it's like several thousand acres in Wyoming, to where they have that dino dig every year. So they have the largest collection we think in the world of dinosaur, and they're just sitting in their basement. They're still in their casts. They can't do anything with it. So Jared and I, Professor Jared, just went, I can't, he's gonna, don't watch this, Jared. You're gonna get mad at me. His name. He and I have been working on this for years, and it was just a shame that these were all sitting in the basement. And he is no longer at the university, but he's still the president of this whole project. He's still heavily involved. He went to work for the Nature Conservatory in Fort Worth, but this is his baby, and so we're moving forward. So I was super excited to let you guys know about that. that we're finally moving forward. And that's exciting. I will speed things up because I just have a lot to tell you. Development projects coming in, just this morning. I did get final approval to start pushing forward on recruiting some retail for about a 6-acre retail development coming in. They have asked me to help them fill it, which is obviously it's what I do. So I'm excited about that. The biggest hurdle right now is they're going to have to run sewer to this piece of property. They're already working with JSUD. They already turned their application in. They're already working with NAN. So we're super excited about that. Myself and the director of development services, Aaron, we met with them this morning and we went over their preliminary site plan just to see if the city would be okay with it. Now, this is a very preliminary site plan because, as you know, when you have entities come in, they might want more space, or we might have a big restaurant, or we could have a big anchor come in. So it's all really preliminary. So that's why we don't want to plat it. We just kind of want to play it by ear, but I'll start pushing that out to the connections that I have to start bringing some of these developments in. It is. And I am also excited to tell you that I did apply for a $10,000 scholarship for a retail academy, with retail strategies, and only 3 cities were chosen out of, I can't tell you how many. And the city of Joshua was one of them. So I'm super excited about that. What that does is it's a 2-day, a 2-day in-person academy. It will be in San Antonio. It'll be held sometime in the winter of 2024. The only thing I have to pay for, the board pays for, is my room and board. For this conference, this little academy. The other thing that I'm really more excited about than anything is the market analysis that I get. I don't know how familiar you are, but in my position, we do a lot of mobile tracking. We do a lot of leakage. The leakage report's going to help me because they can pull all of your credit cards, well, certain credit cards, and tell where you're shopping outside. Like if you're going to Academy a lot, where, I'm pushing it with Academy. We're not quite big enough for Academy, but that's just an example. They're going to look, I'll be able to look at leakage reports and see where the citizens of Joshua are shopping. And then that gives me, I can reach out to that entity and go, look, where you have 6,000 people shopping there a month. Why don't you consider, and that just helps me push Joshua a little bit better. And then they'll also do some marketing flyers for me, because let's honest, I really don't have time to do all that. So once I get on board with them, when we have these retail things happening, I give them an aerial, I give them the site plan. They will do the mock-up. They will do my traffic count. They will do little, buildings. They have that artwork to do these visual flyers for me, which helps me advertise and push out. So I'm super excited about that scholarship, and we'll have it for a year. I'll have that ability to use them, and I will use them as much as I can for the whole year. We'll get our grant money's worth. I was going to bring up the Fall on Main, but Brandy did that already. We have this really great 80s band. I came across them on accident. I immediately got their card, sent it to Brandy, had them look at some YouTube stuff. They're an 80s, cover band, and they are phenomenal. And so we're hoping we get some street dancing out here. It's going to be October 21st. I apologize. I wanted to bring the flyers to you tonight, and I missed that, and I apologize, but we can email them out to you. Right here. We're shutting down Main Street here in downtown. Yes. And then we're going to be working on Christmas on Main. I think that's like the first weekend of December. Same thing. We'll shut down Main Street. And I was so happy to hear that we have over 30 vendors. And I keep seeing on Facebook, on the chamber Facebook, that people are continuing to ask, how do we get a booth? How do we get a booth? We're going to have the downtown restaurants involved. We're telling them you get your whole frontage. If you want to bring out little booths, you want to do everything we can to promote you. 3 Rivers. If you guys have not been to 3 Rivers Coffee, their coffee is amazing. I'm a little bit of a coffee snob. Their coffee is fantastic, but they also have the wine bar in the back. we were working on some things. I've been working with Alice to see, we don't know if they can do the wine part. We really don't want the wine part out on downtown. But they're definitely gonna bring their coffee cart out and be handing out coffee. I also have something that I'm working on for Christmas on Main, and I'm hoping we can pull it off, but I think it's gonna be really cool. Get excited, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is. Sorry. Get excited. Get excited. But when I set up, get excited when you see executive sessions on there. Because then that either means I want to spend money or have something cool going. Yeah. And then we have the youth trout tournament or youth trout fishing event that I do every year. This will be our third annual, and it's a big hit. We partner with the Texas Parks and Wildlife. We have trout delivered into the pond on the event. Little kids come out. It's free. We give out free fishing poles. It's been pretty successful and fun. That's going to be in January. I will update you guys more once it gets closer because we're still working on all of that. And I do have, there is some exciting things coming in, and when you have potential of another big retail development coming in. But I'm waiting to hear from that developer before I can give you guys any information on that. But Joshua's growing. They're noticing us, they're coming here. So it's pretty exciting. That's all I got.
Really good.
Any questions?
Just opened a real estate shop and I need a place to go.
You do? You need a brick and mortar? Well, I have this container park coming open. Cozy little 12 by 40. Yes. It'll be a little while still, but.
You have to run
Actually,
across the
this
street
point
to
of
the
the
porta
porta
potty.
potty, go to the house and stuff.
Oh, really? That thing has been for sale forever. Where you been? Yeah.
The little guys have been coming in there telling us we can't do work there anymore.
Yeah. Really? Yeah.
And we talked about that little accident for.
Yeah, I know. So have we. But I will definitely, I can keep my eye out for you. You just gotta let me know what size you're looking at and what you need. And I'm more than happy to help you. Okay. That's all I got, guys.
Item E, you said we do not need executive session.
No. The project that I was working on, it did not pan out. So there's no need.
Right, we will move to item G, any future items that any directors request for the next agenda. Then
Make a motion, we adjourn.
7:00.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Second. Got it.